Eventually.
Let me hit record on this. So, first up, good people of the world.
That happen to be watching.
I'm chilling out with some really nice people. Jessica and Braxton buyers, Rihanna Carey, and my beautiful wife Kim, who needs no introduction. And before I go any further, I'd like to say that this podcast is brought to you by my friends at Maven, who build quality binoculars at a fraction of the price. So get on and check out Maven Optics, and you can find them on Instagram as well, and have a look at their products. If you've got any questions, send them over to the good people over there. I'll answer the questions, but they are quality binoculars at a very good price.
Nothing?
Nothing. So this is a bit different, this podcast, because we're burning the candle at both ends. We're about to head down south. The girls and Braxton have had a few days hunting here and had a few good opportunities at deer. Jess shot one for meat on the very first morning, so that was pretty killer, literally. And Kimmy's been cooking it for the last couple of nights.
Cooking it and killing it.
Cooking it and killing it. So that's been really good. But yeah, so we're going to butcher this meat at the same time. We're going to do 2 podcasts while the guys are here. So Braxton's leaving on the 11th, so I really want to concentrate a few questions on you guys. And in the second podcast, then I really want to question you on a couple of things.
Okay.
But it's just general chit chat, like we've been doing. But anyway, so my first question to you, Jess, and I know you're going to watch me do this because you're trying to pick up whatever tips you can off me, is, like, I want to know a little bit. So I didn't sort of want to ask you because it's I don't know any of your background, or even if you want to talk to me about it, but I'd just like to know, like, just your upbringing and essentially how that brought you into hunting and being a hunter, bow hunter.
So my dad has. Am I talking to the camera?
No, you just
okay.
talking to us.
My dad has been a hunter forever, and so he had all girls, and he had all of us in the field since we were little bitty. I mean, I can't really tell you an age when I first started getting in the field, but as long as I can remember, he had us in deer camp, and I can remember riding around all 4-wheelers and being out in the field and the blinds, and it's always been a part of my life. But
Bow hunting or
no, rifle
yeah.
hunting. So he actually is what got me into bow hunting. That's why I give him all the credit.
Braxton, good man.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad just instilled it in us. Like we've always been hunting. I didn't actually get behind the weapon though until I believe the end of 8th grade year. Might have been freshman year. I finally decided, okay, I was ready to take a deer, and that was after a lot of practice. You know, I was really big on ethical hunting and making sure you do your time and going through the hunter safety and made sure I was ready. And so yeah, a lot of my first few kills were with him, and I wanted to learn archery really bad, and none of the guys in my family were hardcore like Adam Greenstreet. But no, I met Braxton almost 6 years ago, and he's been exclusively bow hunting since you were
8.
Really? Okay, I can remember.
8
I would
years
say
old,
8 or
dude.
12.
That's awesome.
He got his first bow when he was 8. You had your first kill when you were.
Yeah, I mean, I started bow hunting when I was 8. I didn't kill anything until I was 12.
Okay.
I missed a lot though.
Yeah. Yeah.
And were you in the guns at the same time? Or?
No. I mean.
Other than
when-
nighttime pig hunting.
Yeah, I mean,
and stuff.
I shot a lot of hogs and stuff, and guided a lot of rifle hunts. But when I was hunting for myself, it was just pretty much strictly bow hunting.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so my dad and my hubs. One introduced me to the outdoors, and the other kind of.
So what
lit a
made you
fire
decide
to take it to a career?
Well, no, to just do bow hunting as opposed to rifles.
So
Like what
I have to be really
makes-
careful how I say this because it makes it sound like one is better than the other, and I mean, bow hunting.
Well, it's a personal preference, really.
Yeah. So, okay. So if I'm being completely honest,
One is
Legal
better than the
hunting
other.
is all equal.
I got to this point where I had rifle hunted for so many years, and I had done it on my own successfully so many times, and I was just like, what's the next step?
Yeah.
I started to feel like there was an emptiness, and I think when I met him, I hadn't hunted in maybe a year, right? And we started hunting together immediately. As soon as I met him, we went hunting together. It wasn't bow hunting until probably the third hunt, which is only 2 months into our relationship.
Yeah.
But I had quit actually. I didn't hunt for like maybe a year and a half because I was just like, I need something more.
Harder.
And just all aspects. I mean, I always preach to everybody. People ask me, why do you like bow hunting? I'm like, because it shapes you. Like, it teaches you, it exposes the good and the bad, and you you find out your strengths and your weaknesses, and you know what breaks you down and stuff. And so I guess I was just craving that subconsciously. I didn't really know it, and so when he introduced me, I was like, this is what I wanted to.
Did someone move my steel?
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
was just getting it all the way.
Continue. Sorry. If anyone's hearing background noise, if you're not watching this on YouTube and you just listen to the audio on the podcast, all the rustling and everything is meat going in the bags and knives getting sharpened. But I'm sure they can hear you fine over that.
Yeah, it's fine. I guess there's not a whole lot more to it.
Of course, there's a whole lot more to it.
Braxton introduced me to bow hunting, and here I am. It lit a fire in me, and I started thinking about how many women are out there that probably want to do it, and they just have they don't have a man in their life.
Yeah. Or even friends.
So that's sometimes that's
a lot.
where
I
I'm
get a
taking-
lot of questions like, I don't know anyone, and
How do you
Yeah.
get into
Yeah.
hunting?
yeah.
Sometimes I have to take a step back, and I'm like, wow, I was raised in a hunting family. I can't imagine not even being exposed to that, and then all of a sudden you want to go bow hunting. I'm like, I don't know how you take the last 15 years of my life and just say this is how you start. You know, it's just like a lot in there.
Because usually you start out by meeting someone that does it.
That is the best way. That's like hands on.
Yeah, that even sparks your interest in it because so many people don't even think about it or know that it's out there.
Yeah.
Well, and it can be really misleading if you just read it in like a still frame picture or a YouTube hunting video or whatever. I mean, it's totally different when you're in the field with somebody.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
and you see everything that goes into it.
Yeah. It's a lot.
So,
So much.
but like, I mean, I was used to being the only girl in camp forever. Ever. Like that was normal, and I was totally confident when it came to guns, but I never felt confident enough walking into an archery shop. Like,
yeah.
I just had this vision of walking in, and then like there's a bunch of men, and like, what's this girl doing? What is she doing? You know,
It's like, yeah,
it's intimidating,
yeah.
and I'm sure really insecure at that point in my life as a teenager, and like, you know, it was just not a good time. So yeah, Braxton was kind of my.
You're not that young, babe. You weren't a teenager when you walked into a bow shop.
I'm saying when I wanted to.
Yeah.
At the time when I decided I wanted to try, I didn't have the confidence to just walk in and be like, this is what I want to do, and I don't care what y'all think about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also after that comment, you're not getting laid tonight.
Well, I hope not, because I'm in the same room as you guys, so.
We're gonna go hunt some Australian grub hunting.
Oh no!
I've been there. We've all been there.
Grub hunting.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
It tastes like peanut butter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they say, honestly. That sounds so bad.
People listening are going to be so lost right now.
Yeah.
Adam was trying to get us to eat grubs today.
Because they taste like peanut butter, apparently.
That's what he said.
Oh, they do. They're delicious.
Yeah, but we can't just take your word for it.
Yeah.
No, I'll find some for you and you can try them. And then
Alright. Do they have any
that's the
down
real
south?
Australian experience. I don't know. We'll have to have a look.
Mm.
We'll have to have a look.
We're gonna have to try some grubs, like
Yeah.
Timon and Pumbaa.
That's actually
Yeah.
the first thing I thought of when y'all said it. I was
Like the Lion King?
yes,
Yeah.
like the best Disney movie ever
Yeah,
made.
yeah.
It's my favorite.
So how did you guys meet?
Walking into a bar. If I'm being completely honest. I mean, what was like after a concert, just
We walked in and Jessica kept following me around.
this is such a no, there's like
That's what they
a
all say.
we have a lot of live Texas country music back home in our area,
Yeah.
and he was out with some friends at this outdoor venue, and I was with mine, and you always go dancing afterwards, like country dancing's really big at home.
Line dancing or?
No, everybody thinks line dancing is cool. It's not cool at all.
Oh, okay.
If you're a guy line dancing, we call you a shirt lifter.
Shit.
That was good, babe. I'm proud of you.
We're
Bring
just
it out
not
the
He's
Austin
really,
lingo.
he's really catching on to the lingo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we all went out dancing, and I ran up to say hi to a mutual friend of ours that I've known for a while. He's in the construction world, and I grew up I'm the daughter of a general contractor, and he worked in construction forever, so this guy just said, hey, this is my friend, and introduced us, and went out after that. Yeah, here we are.
Nice.
And how long have you guys been together?
6 years.
This summer will be 6 years.
And
we met in
married?
July, June,
It'll be
July.
3 in June.
June.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you into that.
I'll make sure you remember.
Let me grab my phone. I gotta look.
June.
at my phone.
Yeah.
27.
June will be 3 years married, 6 years together.
Mm-hmm.
Yep,
Goes quick.
it goes very fast.
Yeah.
And what about I know, but just for the audience, because obviously you guys do a lot of hunting back at Texas where you guys are, but you obviously you get around a bit, and
World traveler.
you try and chase elk every year.
Oh yeah, I try. I've done it. I didn't start elk hunting until 2015. Actually, as a wedding gift, my dad asked both of us if we wanted to go. He couldn't go because of work, and of course, in true Braxton fashion, he's like, "Well, you're going. He won't ever let me say no to any kind of cool trip." And I got to go with my dad as a wedding gift. Got an elk that year, and I've been hooked ever since. And I haven't got another one, so it's like first time luck.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I've been 3 years now. This will be my 4th year, but I'm doing it different this year.
What state did you go to?
It was always New Mexico,
Oh.
always like the honey hole, like a guided experience, like just really nice. This year I'm doing it totally different. Me and a really good family friend of ours. He packs in every year on horses in Colorado, and usually over the counter. We did put in, but we don't have the results yet. We'll have that in June. And even still, it's not like a top of the line unit. It's just to help maybe not run into hunters as often. And if we
Right.
don't get that, we're gonna be going to the unit next to it. So anyway,
That's what makes.
that'll
the
be my
difference.
very first pack in on horses.
Yeah.
It'll be
That would be so
at least
cool.
a 2-week deal, maybe.
Yeah.
I told him I could stay a whole month, and Braxton's like, yeah, just stay the whole month. So I might be in
Awesome.
Colorado for a month. I don't know.
And with
Hopefully get one.
you making a living out of hunting as such, like that's all you do, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Braxton, you're on the camera a lot by the sounds of it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You don't have to call me sir. You can call me mate in this country.
May.
Mate.
It's habit. So hard not to say it.
Yeah.
He doesn't film me as much now because you have to work
Mm-hmm.
a lot during season. So now he's a ranch manager, so that's kind of like his prime time to. He's pretty wrapped up, but we've made some really good friends that'll come and film if he can't.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna film that elk hunt. I guess we'll try, but
That's pretty much.
That
document
looks
what we can.
really good.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever make bone broth with this?
We haven't, but we want to.
Haven't.
It's
Yeah.
so good.
Good.
I make it a lot.
What goes into that? I'm
It's
pretty clueless
easy.
when it comes.
Water and bones and salt, celery, carrots,
Okay.
parsley. I mean, basically you
Kinda
can make
so-
it
so
very.
you just
Yeah, just
That's
like
right.
any- I mean, pretty much
You just
any
put it in
broth,
water
yeah.
and you just put it in a big pot and you boil it for several hours and
Do you ever add like the little the,
Bouillon coop?
Yeah.
No, you don't have to, cause that's what this is.
this is gonna
Yeah.
I
be.
mean, it
yeah.
cooks the meat off, and I mean, with all of the celery, that's what a bouillon coop is.
So
Oh, okay, duh, that was.
So
that was
basically,
question.
the
I see what you're
broth
saying.
is like meat stock.
Meat stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Braxton,
I've never
do you want to do me a
done
favour and
soups
put them in the freezer?
Like you
Just
just put
while we're
it
sitting
in.
here?
I make a vegetable stock, but I wanna have a meat one.
So
It's fun.
remember last night at dinner I was talking about how some meats I'll do, like I'll let them sit for a few days, or like with hog meat we'll bleed it, we'll put ice over and over again for like a week to get all the blood out.
Mhm.
And I said with my turkey legs I didn't do anything. It was like as soon as we killed it we threw it in the crock pot.
Yeah.
All the things that you just said is pretty much all I put in there. Like
Oh, okay.
like celery, carrots, and a couple
Yeah.
cubes and some water. I don't even think I put salt and pepper or anything. Like I just wanted the natural flavor of that without being like overbearing.
Mhm.
So that's why I was asking. It's just really not much to it. They're just cool to make my own.
Yeah, it's really good.
Is
And
this the
what-
one that I'm gonna try?
What's
Is
that?
this the one I'm gonna try?
Yeah, well I'll do the other shoulder,
Okay.
and then you can cut that other leg. That back leg up, it's got the best cuts. But
Oh, you want me to go ahead and try?
yeah, go for it. Just
I
follow.
might be asking you
Follow
some.
You can see the seams
You
there,
might need
and you'll be done.
Might need a what?
a different knife than the have on.
Oh, really?
Part, probably.
Shoot,
This'll
no,
be-
No, you
Right.
can
You're
hit
right.
that joint.
Yeah,
Okay.
So start
Yeah.
with this right
yeah.
here.
You just do the muscles, and then I'll break the leg apart. Yeah, you're right. That's all you want to do. So, like you guys have already seen, like a bunch of wildlife in Australia. I know Rihanna gets excited pretty quickly, but
Well, she sees everything.
yeah, I know.
She sees ants
Freaking
crawling
got
in the
eagles.
ground
She's
like
got
a
super warm
K-way.
eyes.
Yeah.
I've never.
Me
Have
either.
you ever thought about guiding?
Nah.
I mean, I love hunting,
Right. You
but
don't
I
like
mean,
it.
I don't know. I enjoy hunting with other people for sure.
I feel like I'm gonna mess this up.
But you want to kill.
I mean, I enjoy hunting. I just want to do it all the time. So
Mm.
guiding sounds pretty legit to me.
Yeah.
What's like the coolest thing you've seen since you've been here?
The
Oh,
porky
Who are you
frog.
asking?
Oh, the echidna. That thing is
Echidna.
crazy.
How do you
Echidna.
echidna?
Echidna. We saw another one today. We didn't
I've
tell you
seen
that.
the Insta
My
story.
story.
Mm.
Those are crazy, and they just like got those long snouts, and the way that they burrow into the ground, their defense mechanism was
Pretty cool,
insane.
Yeah.
And yeah, they kind of remind me of a porcupine. They look
Mm.
like a African.
So what's the
porcupine.
That's what I
okay? So what's the difference?
Well, they don't shoot out quills.
Is that the only difference though? I mean, I know that there's.
They lay eggs.
Oh, they
That's what I
Adam!
said.
Okay,
It's the
tell
kangaroo
me. You guys have to
yeah.
hear what is going on with the echidna's babies. How they have a baby.
So they lay an egg.
Okay.
If they lay an egg,
They lay
they're
an
not a duck, they're not a bird or nothing. They lay an egg.
That's weird.
And then the one that I was telling you about yesterday, and I got it mixed up, was it's a kangaroo who has a tiny. It's like a little
Oh,
worm,
okay.
like a little hairless worm, and it crawls up the mother's fur, and it like takes a crazy amount of time just to climb up, find the pouch, and it actually burrows into a pouch itself.
like the
and connects
pouch
to a
is
nipple.
like
That's a kangaroo
Yeah.
baby.
That's a kangaroo baby. Yeah.
and it lives in the pouch for 24 months, I think. Like
Something
2 years.
Adam,
ridiculous.
is this?
Yeah.
That is the
Where did you?
craziest
What
thing.
have
Yeah.
you?
No, that's fine. See how.
It's just.
Yeah, just
really.
keep following it. See that there? It's just nearly coming off with my finger. Just keep following that down. You can't really stuff it because if you cut in a little bit too much, it doesn't matter. So, we'll just talking about how hard it is to learn this without someone actually
Showing you how to do it.
You know, but I suppose with YouTube videos. it's
So
not
where
like
do
that.
the echidnas put their eggs? Do they have like?
Echidnas, do they do eggs too?
I'm not sure. Google it, Jamie.
Jamie.
Wait.
Google it. No, seriously.
is
look
that
it up.
is that my job in this show?
It is right now.
I'm Jamie.
Echidnas babies. Yeah, so the echidnas were pretty cool. Oh, kangaroos fighting!
Oh yeah,
That-
you've seen that.
That
So-
video was.
It
hilarious.
looks
I can't
like
believe they're choking.
they're
choking.
like this. They just like take their
I
hands
think
and
I
they
cut
want to
into
just.
this.
It was that
That's
was
right,
pretty
just coming
funny.
across
We
there
did
now.
hear the laughing birds
Oh, you
this
did.
morning,
Oh,
right when we,
kookaburras,
right
yeah.
when we
Yeah.
got out of the truck. They were
You were
laughing.
like, they're the birds. Nice.
Yeah, and there's so many different kinds of birds too. I
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
notice birds anywhere
That's
I
the
go.
little
but
one.
Oh,
So-
this is a little
Yeah,
one?
so you come,
Are you sure? This one right here is little?
yeah, you
Yeah.
come down this right here.
You obviously see how close I am.
No, you're doing really good. You're following the line and everything.
This one or this
No,
one?
The
this one.
The small one.
Oh my god, have you seen pictures of the babies? They're so cute. They look like little hedgehogs.
hair. Oh yeah, that's
Bring it
so
up.
that's what I thought. Okay, when I first saw an echidna, I was like, oh, is that a hedgehog?
Mm.
Is that kind of what they look like? And here it looks like a platypus.
Yeah, it looks
This
like a
isn't
hairless
separating the way the
little-
other ones did. That's why it didn't look right to
That's
me.
a
Oh, there's a
hedgehog.
Do you want to look, Jess?
Oh no, it's baby beaked echidna.
We're doing great.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
they have to be in the same species.
Yeah.
Like
So it just comes to an end just there,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll probably cut that little one off, but that's alright.
So is this the one?
That's the like
So-
the littlest
Yeah,
one
but
there.
look, I started cutting. Is that
No, that's fine.
okay?
That would usually.
But it's easier to do it from behind because it's more separated back
Yeah,
there. Okay.
that would usually
Alright,
just come through
short
there.
beaked echidnas are part of a group of mammals called, I can't pronounce that, monotremes.
Mhm.
Females lay a single egg which is incubated for 11 days before it hatches. The baby is called a pugil.
A pugil. Oh.
Google.
Completes its development in the mother's pouch.
So it's the same.
So
as a
Oh.
kangaroo.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
someone told me they lay eggs.
No,
Looks
it
like
does.
they lay
It,
eggs.
it
Oh.
she lays one egg and then she
It's in her pouch.
no, she incubates it for 11 days, then it hatches, then goes into her pouch.
Oh my gosh, what
Yeah.
a trauma.
I know.
I thought the human kids were bad enough.
Yeah. Hey, you didn't have to house them or push them out. So what are you complaining about?
Well, you didn't have to
How's
incubate an egg for such and such and then let it into your pouch either.
No.
Just saying.
Crazy.
Australia has got a very unique lot of animals.
Yeah, there really are.
Like, because we see kangaroos every day, like, you guys are like, oh, wow, the kangaroos. And we're like, yeah, the bloody kangaroos.
Yeah.
Scaring deer off and shit.
Yeah.
But if you'd never seen a kangaroo before, and say a kangaroo had never been documented or anything like that, then you're seeing this thing jumping around on 2 feet,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you'd freak out, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what the?
Like,
Yeah.
it's a proper Bigfoot.
So the wombats too, are those just indigenous?
That's my
to
favorite thing I've seen.
Yeah.
in
Australia.
Australia.
Wombats are just indigenous to Australia.
Okay.
That's my
So
favorite
those
thing
were
I've seen.
cool.
I got to that one that y'all noticed. I think Adam pointed it out.
The baby.
You're like, there's a mom and a baby running across that
Oh, cool.
ridge.
Yeah.
And when I circled back around to go after that chocolate fellow at the bottom, I got to watch them like crawl up in their little hole, which is pretty cute. They're my favorite animal.
Yeah,
for
they're
sure.
pretty cute.
They are very cool.
And are they a rodent
They-
species or?
No,
They
no.
kinda look-
yeah,
They
they
look
do.
like it, but they're not.
They
Yeah,
make
that
a
would be-
really, really freaky
Well, I started to do this because it
noise.
looked like I didn't get to, but then I don't know.
Yeah.
Replicate
What I
it.
did wrong.
Kimmy's gonna show us.
No, I'm not
No.
replicating.
Okay, you tell us the wombat noise.
The wombat noise. Just going
Yeah.
ballistic.
Yeah, it sounds freaky.
That there
Scary.
will come underneath the bone, just down beside the bone now. Be a little bit rough, I did, but that's right.
I'm glad I did not do that to me the other night because I might have peed my pants.
It's freaky. It's freaky. I wish we had koalas out here.
Oh,
my
me
gosh.
too. You guys definitely need to see a koala before you go home.
Yeah,
So where are those at usually? Like
Well,
because
they're in a few different
they're
places.
an endangered species in Australia.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
because
Why?
there's only certain.
Poaching.
No, I think it's just people just building,
I
knocking
I'm
down
just waiting for you to show
trees
me
that
what
they
it is.
eat. I think they only eat
Look at that
one
stuff.
kind of eucalyptus.
The
Is
next-
that right?
Yeah, they
It's
do,
a
yeah.
special kind of
The
eucalyptus tree.
next bit is you just got to trim around the bone as close as you can around that section,
Yeah, so
and
they-
they'll come off
they
to
don't
about
eat.
there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a special kind. I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know what kind it is.
And I didn't realize that Australia is filled with eucalyptus trees everywhere.
Yeah, and gum trees,
And gum.
which to me it's pretty much like
Gum trees?
gum
That's
trees.
where gumballs come from.
Yeah.
They roll the leaves up.
There's just so many
Stop.
different species.
Well, I reckon I can ask Rihanna a couple of questions now because Jess's
Yeah.
life is so short and boring.
No.
What's your story, Rihanna? Like, Like not just how you got into bow hunting, but just your upbringing.
So you were never in. You had no idea
I'm
about
the polar
anything?
opposite of Jess. So I was your.
Who's got the bags?
Oh, I do. Yeah, I never was raised around hunting. My family actually were more like mushroom hunters. That's what I say. We would go
That's a
Like a
morel
hippie.
hunting and
Oh,
yeah, we were
Okay,
gatherers.
yeah, that's cool.
Oh, okay.
My
but it's still
dad.
outdoorsy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
My dad's side of the family, they were big hunters, but I wasn't super
Huh?
close with that side, so never really did that. But yeah,
And what part of America? Or
I live in the Pacific Northwest in Oregon.
is that where your family come from as well?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Ashland, Oregon, and I've lived all over Oregon, but I've never lived anywhere else. Oh, I found all the bags. I was getting them ready for you. But yeah, I was introduced to hunting, and I honestly was looking for a hobby at the time, and just fell into it. And I've hunted. I mean, all over the place, and I just.
You've hunted a lot for someone who hadn't done it for very long.
Yeah, I've been doing it I think for seven years now. But
Oh,
after.
you've done it
Yeah,
long.
yeah, I've done it for a while. But I
And
started out rifle
yeah.
hunting.
You've
And
been to Spain and all over the place, right?
yeah, I've been
New
New Zealand,
Yeah.
now
New Zealand, bro?
Australia,
Yeah.
New Zealand?
and yeah, it's been just such an incredible, life-changing experience becoming a hunter. Honestly, like I never have felt so confident as a woman, and never been so self-sufficient, and just I've learned so many amazing values from hunting, and I'm super thankful that I was introduced to it.
Well, it just makes you appreciate and realise where meat comes from
Oh.
for starters. Like if that's the
That's
only
not
thing
even
you took
that.
out of hunting. No, it's not even that, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying if that was the only thing you took out of hunting, like how amazing was just that?
Incredible. And actually, before I started hunting, I tried being vegan for a short
Well,
while.
we talked about this, and I was like, I kind of want to bring it up, but I didn't know if you wanted to talk about it.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, no, I was vegan
Which I
for
think
like
is so cool.
3 or 4 months because I've read a few books. I was actually a nursing student, and I wrote a paper on agriculture business, like agribusiness and factory farming, and did so much research and was just disgusted. And I will say there are people who do it right and who.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I mean, there are great, ranchers that
Yeah.
treat the animals with respect. But for me, as a college student in nursing school,
Just
I,
like that,
obviously couldn't pay or buy the organic meat. And so for me, it was just easier to be vegan. And I tried it, and I just don't think that it was meant for me. And certain people, maybe they can do it. I think it has a lot to do with like your lineal descent, like where you come from, and your ancestors. And for me, on my dad's side, Native American hunter gatherer. I mean, that's what's in my blood. So for me, I was so unhealthy and lost too much weight. So I started eating meat again, and once I learned about hunting, like I literally probably just thought that a typical hunter was the redneck who was drinking beer,
Well, that's
shooting
like,
for fun. Like if you tried to approach me about hunting, like
that's
10
just
years
the
ago, I would have been
stereotype.
like, never. I would never do such a thing. I could never kill an animal.
Yeah.
But being introduced to it with the respect and the ethics that I was, I just was like, okay, this is, how can you eat meat and not have hunted?
Yeah.
Or tried it. I think if you're a meat eater, you should at least try to kill an animal, see how you feel about it, and if it's not for you, then you maybe shouldn't eat meat.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
it's it's definitely a life-changing experience for sure. Being so involved in the process. So since then, I mean, I wish that I could do it every day. And last year, basically, I felt like I hunted maybe 250 days of the year.
Wow,
That's
yeah.
amazing.
I mean, if I wasn't out there, I was getting ready to go.
Yeah.
I was
That's
home.
awesome.
Yeah, so it was incredible, and I feel like I've been really lucky to be so hyper involved in it. So I've gained a lot of experience, even in the short time that I've been doing it. But for me, it was trying to, like, I want to perfect it. I want to be good at it, and I want to know what I'm talking about, and I want to know.
Oh, you are good at it already.
Yeah.
You're very good.
Like, you're
Like
cut
both
out
of you,
for
I
it.
was just like,
Yeah.
I think
I'm just amazed.
There's people that are naturals at it, and like I
Yeah.
told you, like my family, like that's what they were Native American. Like my grandfather was a chief of a Native tribe, like, and that's just where I think I've learned those skills.
Blood.
It's in your blood. Some people, it's there's
It's probably
evolutionary things that are passed down,
Yeah.
and so.
Well, Adam's always said that it's like his religion. It's like it's just something inside of him that just
Well,
he has to do it.
And spiritual, like, okay, I've never
that
been a
actually
person.
should be inside everyone because we all come from there. Otherwise, you didn't live. You're dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's actually, it has to be inside of everyone, but it just slowly gets bred. I think it's slowly getting bred out. And
Which
given another
is-
30, 40 years, and it'll be even more uncommon.
No, not with people like us doing podcasts talking about it. And, that's what we're here for. We need to spread the word and tell people how amazing. I mean, I've never been such a spiritual person in my whole life. I've never just looked at the clouds or looked at the sun and been like, wow, there's like my grandfather. He's like looking down on me. Or like after you like conquer a certain, I don't know, like hunt, or you get your animal and you feel like this intense connection to nature. Like it's nothing that I've ever felt before, and it just like brings tears to my eyes just thinking about all the experiences that I've had over the past 7 years being a hunter. There's nothing quite like it, and I just want everyone to experience it because they will. Like you, Kimmy, I mean, you know now. You just started hunting.
Exactly.
But you've been around it for so long.
I know, and I've just been like, oh, that's just his thing.
And now she's up there hunting by herself. Like yesterday, she went out alone, and she's just like, loving it.
I do. It's crazy. But it's exactly like what you said. It's like stuff that I wouldn't have appreciated
or
the
even
past.
noticed. It's
Like
weird what
it's
you
just
notice
like
when you're out there.
everything natural. It's just all beautiful. Like everything. It's just beautiful.
You're hyper aware of things that you would have never noticed. You would have never seen that bird in the tree or noticed its colors before. You're just so connected.
I felt that way even more so today when we went out by ourselves because I was forced to be like sensory overload. Where you're as opposed to having a group of us together, kind of like all eyes on deck, figure out what's the next move. And I don't know. That's to me when you really like test what you're capable of and what breaks you down. And
that is like I hunt a lot by myself, and I have a lot of people say, let's go hunting, let's do this, I'll take you, and I'm like, I'd love to go, but honestly, like, I just love hunting by myself. There's just nothing like it. I mean,
I like it too.
you're just, it's
And that's
just
why
you.
Adam does it as well.
Yeah.
Like
Just me, just wilderness, just
well, if you
quiet.
have a lot of social life where you are around a lot of people all the time, that's kind of like, well, that's your time. That's my
Just
time.
the horse and escape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Because you hunt a lot by yourself too, so.
Yeah, well, now especially like I was saying, because he's got stuff to do during season, so.
I think some people need the motivation and the push and to have someone with them, and it's like the same with like working out and training and hiking and all that sort of stuff. I don't need someone, like I actually prefer to be doing all that
Yeah,
by
whereas
myself.
I've got mates that don't want to hunt. If they're going to be by themselves, they won't hunt. They want someone there.
See, and I don't mind admitting that if he's with me, I feel like he's a crutch. Like where because I'm not being forced to do it all alone, and so I know that I'll be better if I keep going out by myself, even though he's the only reason I know how to do some of the stuff I know how to do.
Yeah.
So.
But that's awesome too that he supports you and wants you to, not allows you, because that's not the right. But some guys are like,
she
no,
has.
yeah.
I was waiting
You're
for
not
it.
doing
I
this
was
by
waiting for
yourself,
his comment.
But it's definitely that's great that you guys share that and that he's supportive of
Well, one thing that we talked about, I think when I first got here was, I don't know what the conversation was, but I was saying how I think that whenever you, not even so much perfect something, but when you feel like you have accomplished a lot of the goals that you've set for yourself in whatever area it is in your life, the next step is to pass that on to someone and teach someone. Like that is what you are supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I think that might be, I don't know, I don't want to speak for you, but you always say that you get more gratification watching me pursue something that you were able to pass on to me than being behind the weapon. Like seriously, he was at full draw on the Buckeye shot this year. What, three times?
Yeah.
Or last year? Because he's like, oh, I'd rather just shoot this. And he just is like, so I just think it's cool because I think it would be hard if we were both just trying to get into it and it's just like, oh, who's up next? What are we going to do? Where he's been doing it since he was 8.
Yeah.
So, and you have the same thing. You're
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Actually, when did you start? I don't know your story.
Me, I was 7. Well, I've always hunted since I was a kid, but just with a bow since I was 17. But my story's old. I'm not here to talk to you guys.
No, but it is interesting because, well, I think that his story is unique because he didn't have anyone going, hey, you should come try this. So, like, he just
No, I've
he
everything here.
discovered bow hunting on his own. He was in like a second, what was it? Like like a cash converters or something like that. Selling, what were you selling?
Well, I think you're on an earlier story.
No, but that's
Before
how.
I actually, the first bow that I ever had, because I had a gun, and I went in to trade the gun for another gun.
Yeah.
There was a bow on the wall.
And he was
bow.
like,
I didn't
what-
even know what
what-
it was because it had like the 3 strings and shit on it.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's that thing? And he's like, oh, it's a compound bow. And I'm like, oh, right. And he's like, I'll trade you your gun for it. And I said, yes. And he gave me a couple of arrows and he gave me a really early edition of Australian Bowhunting magazine, which was just a black and white magazine, except
That's
for the
cool.
front cover. The front
You're
cover
aging yourself.
was,
Yeah.
that was only a couple of years ago.
You said
And,
1990.
That's when I was born.
Was it? No, 97 or 90.
No.
But yeah, and on the front cover of the magazine was this guy and a massive big water buffalo holding the bow. And I'm like, the typical, non-educated hunting talk where you're just like, oh, I bet you that took a lot of arrows. Like how many times do you have to shoot that? And it's like, no, just one arrow in the right spot. So, but yeah, so, and then once I shot a bow and seen an arrow fly, I was fully hooked. But actually, it was long before that, but just at a different level where my cousin brought back like a timber bow. It was just like a showpiece from Bali or somewhere overseas where it's just like a fancy, but it actually shot arrows and it had these deadly arrows in it, like real sharp points. And I'd go around chasing rabbits and birds and all sorts of stuff with it. But I was a hunter before I even knew what hunting was, like that it was even a thing.
It's just like way of life.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just as a kid, like whatever it was trying to tangle little turtles in seaweed. Like I'd bind the seaweed up and throw it out and let it sink to the bottom, and then slowly pull it in and bind up these little turtles. And it wasn't to kill them or eat them or anything. It was just simply to catch them. It was still hunting though, like that. I had the same feelings that I had today chasing a big buck in the mountains. Just as a kid on the side of that stream, throwing this weed out and trying to do that. And it could be anything. It could be crickets or birds or lizards.
Adam used to like lay out, went on, because his parents used to manage like properties and stuff like that. Is that right?
Yeah.
And so he used to lay out like sheet metal and get all the snakes to go under there because it would warm in the sun, and then he'd like flip it over and catch the snakes.
Well, I'd walk through a reserve on the way to school, and I'd stamp out all the tin. I'd take the tin down there and stamp it out in the grass, and on the way back from school, I'd flip all the tin over And these are deadly snakes, like especially at that age, like you're dead in 20
I think he
minutes.
was about 7.
And I remember all these different horror stories of me flipping the tin and the snake's right there where you flip the tin, and they'd be aggressive and they'd strike at you straight away. You're young and you're agile and nothing can ever kill you, that's how you feel and think.
Yeah.
And I'd just grab them by the back of the head because then they couldn't bite you and stuff like that. And there was an old bathtub in there. And one morning when I went down, there was snakes already under the tin from the day before. And I grabbed them and I put them in the bathtub, and I remember throwing this big brown snake in the bathtub, and as fast as I threw it in there, it come straight back at me and tried to strike me. And it might have been a week later, and I had all these snakes in like these jars and tins and stuff like that.
What a crazy
And my grandfather, my grandfather, who was the nicest man you've ever met, like that's his on that antler on the front there. If you read it, that's my grandfather's
I
name.
did notice
outside.
And anyway, he's a beautiful man. And then he roused me one day, and he gave me a kick up the bum. And I was always like, and he was getting at me for having those snakes, and I was like, I can't believe he did that. And I was so pissed off and upset and confused. And it took me until I was friggin' 19 or 20 to realise why I actually did it. I thought back on that memory of him, and I'm like, that was the only time he was mean, but he was doing me a favour. He kicked me ass because I had all these snakes alive in the jars, and he still couldn't work out how I was able to put the snakes in the jars and take my hand away and put the lid away without one of them biting me. Because I was going to die. Like any time in that period, I could have easily died. My mum could have come down and found me dead underneath the house with the snake out of the jar.
So did you stop doing that
Yeah,
after
I
he
stopped doing
kicked
it.
you?
Yeah,
Thank God.
Yeah, I
That's
stopped
why
doing
you're
it.
here today.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, that's right. So, yeah, it's pretty funny.
It started when you were young.
But it was just hunting. It was just always that drive. And,
Yeah.
and it's-
No, well, you're just that sort of person that's just you want to be out there. You would just want to like see what you can do and experience.
Challenge
it.
yourself.
When he was 3 years old, I've heard stories how he lit a fire under their house.
this has got nothing to do with hunting anymore.
Oh no, I'm just talking about
Just
you.
talking trash on me now.
Yeah.
I burnt the family house down. Really.
But you were 3, so I've heard of plenty of 3-year-olds doing that kind of
Starting a fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, yeah.
Now that I think about when I was young, we used to live out in the country, and I would like leave my house by myself and go like walkabouting, exploring.
Walkabouting.
All
That's not a
Like-
word, but walkabout.
okay,
You just go
walkabout.
It's a
walk
verb.
about.
You'd go walkabout?
I'd go walkabout like just by myself. I would just go out. My mom didn't. She didn't care. She just let me go. And there was like cougars and bears
Yeah.
and all sorts of stuff. Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, I wasn't that young. It's not like I was 5, but I think I was probably like
You could have gotten
11 or
lost.
12.
You could have gotten lost.
I always had
Watch
one
my
certain
hands.
area I would go, and out in
You'd
the
be
rocks.
okay.
I'd bring friends sometimes. And
Well, me and Braxton were talking today or yesterday about having BB guns.
Yeah.
Just walking off wild with a BB gun. I was 7 years old, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to go around shooting birds or whatever I could find, bring them all back to the house.
see, I never would have done that because I was like, I love everything.
Yeah.
That's well, it's a funny thing because I was the same, isn't it? I just loved nature as a kid,
Mhm.
and I loved animals,
Yeah.
but I still had this drive to go hunting and.
Well, that's one
Yeah.
I think
people who are against hunting or don't agree with hunting think that we kill them because we don't love them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, it's bizarre.
I think it's our love for
That's-
animals that drives us to.
Oh, for sure. I also, whenever someone's hating on me, I'm like, I love deer and I kill them. What
Yeah.
the fuck do you think I'm gonna do to you? Like, do you want to go down that path? No. It's funny because you do.
That
It's
is
and some people can't comprehend that, but yeah, I do. I have a real love for animals and stuff like that, and yeah.
Watching.
I think that was the most offensive thing that anybody's ever said to me, or like in conversations we were talking about how, like, they're like, I just don't understand why she would want to hunt. She's such an animal lover, and I was sitting there thinking, do you know who you're talking to? Like, that literally just cut me.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't appropriate for me to say anything back for the situation that I'm in, but I just thought, like, you have no idea. Like you just don't you don't understand. You can't understand a hunter's perspective until you've done it. But
No, you can't.
the love that we have for the animals is.
Yeah.
That
No,
was-
it's a real beautiful thing.
So that was my mom. She was like, Rihanna, how could you hunt? How could you kill an animal? How could you do that? And, you know, I definitely was like, for the meat. You love steak, Mom. And she also thought that I shot a target that was a baby moose, but it was a fallow deer. So that made me also realize the ignorance. I'm like, that's what I was raised with. She's like, Rihanna, how could you even shoot a baby moose? And I was like, Mom, that's a foam target. And it is that's a foam
You have to
target,
laugh at
it's
that,
not
it's funny.
real. And she's like, yeah, but still, even that you shot it is not okay. And I was like, but it's a fallow deer, that's a mature buck. She said, no, Rihanna, that's a baby moose. And I was like, no, mother. Like, I mean, that's just, and once I explained it to her, she was like, oh, okay, but that's the ignorance that we're dealing with. And that's what I was raised. So seeing it all come full circle, I feel like, you know, I can understand where those people are coming from. And it's all a place of
They
don't know.
They don't know.
No.
It's
And-
like,
Do you know how quickly things would turn if it was like, look, the only way to get meat now is you've actually got to go and shoot it yourself. It's the only way you can get meat. We can't sell meat in stores because it's illegal, blah, blah. Do you know how quickly that shit would turn? And then how quickly people would realise also, oh, the burger that I was eating actually was an animal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it actually
I'm just
comes
gonna
from
have
somewhere.
lettuce
It's
on
no
my
diff-
bun now.
You can't just plead ignorance on
Or
shit like that.
you know, just the thought of hunting if the world was to crash, you know.
I know.
that's what I say to people. And they're like, that's not realistic. I'm
Oh,
like,
Well, it
I
could.
mean-
It could.
Once upon a time,
And
I
not
remember
so
I've-
far away before, you had to kill to eat. Everyone had to do it. Or at least someone so close to you had to do it for you to eat that you realised that meat comes
Yeah,
from
it
animals.
wasn't really that long ago, really.
Yeah,
So,
it might
like
not have been
Steven-
you, the whole family. It might have not been you killing it, but
Yeah,
you had a part in it.
Yeah,
You were
for
doing
sure.
either cooking it or cleaning it or
yeah.
taking care of the meat. You were doing something.
Well, Stephen Ranella says to not hunt is actually a new phenomenon. To not be a hunter
Yeah.
Mhm.
and
Wow,
not to
that's
kill your
really
food
interesting.
Yeah.
Mhm.
is
Yeah.
a new phenomenon. The grocery stores have been around 100 years, if even that's six.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's not.
I understand it with the
Yeah.
world's population today, and I'm not even
Yeah.
against it, but I'm just saying that
It's true.
you can't be for eating a hamburger but then against hunters.
that's what
Like,
my mom is.
It doesn't
She's-
work. You can't be for the ecosystem to be healthy but
Without
not for hunting.
conservation.
without conservation, because hunting's conservation.
Mhm.
And it's funny, like, because we're on two very different hunting systems. You guys back in America,
Oh, it's
Yeah.
you guys are hunting natives, and the conservation effort is, you know, the population staying healthy and stuff like that. In Australia, we're hunting feral introduced species that actually damage, you know, our ecosystem. So it's like, but they still made a delicious meat. So it's like, it is. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a perk on. It's like a perk on top of a perk on top of a perk on top of a perk, and there's no cons there. You know what I mean? It's like positive, 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 and then because I try and tell everyone that I don't just hunt for meat. That's just one of the awesome benefits of hunting.
Yeah.
You know, I don't just hunt for conservation. That's one of the awesome benefits of being a hunter, that we get to contribute to conservation so well. You know, it's like a whole massive things rolled into one. You know.
The experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always say the biggest thing with hunting for me is just that I've just got that urge inside of me to hunt. It's the biggest thing to tick off the list.
To drive.
Yeah.
It's nearly like I don't really want to say it, but it nearly like feels like a drug, like a natural.
Oh, it is.
Oh,
A natural
100%.
high.
It's a
Yeah. It's so exciting and scary, and it just brings out all these emotions. that-
Exhilarating.
yeah.
we definitely
it's-
have to be able to accept the challenge and know that you're gonna be able to accept failure more times than not.
Yeah. And that's hard. It's hard to stomach
Yeah,
sometimes.
because
Oh,
I mean we've been
Yeah.
on
Yeah, exactly.
our, you know, we're hunting them in their living room.
Yeah, yeah.
So if someone is to come into your living room, you're
Yeah.
gonna know they're there.
Yeah, exactly.
What did you say, Adam? You have to do 100% right, and they have to do
At
10%.
least.
At least 10% wrong.
Wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
If they do about 50% wrong, that's real good.
Yeah.
But
During the rut,
Yeah.
usually.
Yeah.
I've never found a deer to do 50% wrong.
Yeah.
There's just one little wrong move they do.
Yeah.
You know, they walk the wrong way against the wind, or
Yeah.
they lay down not facing the right blind spot, or they've just got to do something wrong, but they hardly ever do it.
Mm.
And you've seen them
Yes.
already here in Australia. They listen to every single bird. A bird can
Yeah.
be singing and singing and singing and singing, and then it changes its tune to something's
Alert.
wrong, an
Yeah.
alert, an alarm, and it doesn't even sound any different to us, except for a few of them.
Yeah.
A few of them let off a sound, and you're like, that doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
And then every deer within ear's reach is like, something's coming. There's something over there.
Mm.
I was noticing that earlier when I was stalking on that spike, the little one. I was noticing some of the birds, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds horrible." I was like, "Oh, great, he's gonna run," but he didn't really react. But maybe he's young, so he doesn't know all the
Yeah,
calls.
plenty of young and dumb ones around.
Yeah.
And the other thing is how a kangaroo jumps. If a kangaroo's just, they
What?
just,
Just,
if
no,
a
if they're
kangaroo's
just
doing a
cruising,
casual
then
jump,
that's fine.
the deer won't even lift its head.
No.
They can hear the difference in the jump.
Yeah.
Then a kangaroo jumps in a certain other way, and it's spooked, and the deer are straight up. Like,
Yeah.
When a kangaroo's jumping, I've seen like sometimes they're just coming by me just jumping, but then other times like when they make a loud thud on the ground.
they're
Thud,
spooked.
thud. Like,
Spooking, yeah.
It's like a buck.
Is it
Like,
their
you
tail
can-
hitting the ground?
I was wondering that too, if they're slapping the ground.
I don't
know. One or the other.
But it's definitely
It's
noticeable.
yeah. It's
Like
I think
you
it's
don't
a lot
even
louder.
you don't even really hear
Yeah.
them hopping, but when they thud,
Yeah.
It's like when you can tell it's a buck running and not a doe.
Well, nice spook
Yeah.
tonight.
Crash.
Bumping all
Crash,
the way,
yeah.
so
they were thudding.
Dun, dun.
That's what sent those deer straight to.
I don't
They
know
were-
what spooked them because I wasn't even
Me
around
either.
there.
When I was moose hunting, I had a giant moose right in front of me, and the wind was changing, and I just got down in a position, and I was just about to take the shot, and right where this moose come from, it was like just timber, dry timber everywhere, and he was walking through there slowly, and he was turning his head right to the side just to get his antlers through, right to the side. Anyway, when he spooked, he ran back through there at like 100 miles an hour, and you never even heard his antlers touch one branch.
Insane.
He
And
left
it's elk,
completely
too.
silent
Yeah.
with that. Like they know where every point's sitting.
Yeah.
Like that's a part of rubbing a tree. Like learning where that point is every year when you come out of velvet. Like what
Yeah.
points are back there? You know? Oh yeah. And then when they travel, they can be running flat as long as it's not shit like thick as hell. They can run flat out like that massive moose and not touch one branch. They're just running their heads. And I remember seeing him just in the distance going like this, his head going like that.
That's awesome. The closest thing we have is watching like longhorns get through trees.
Oh yeah.
Which is
but
pretty
they
cool,
know,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just the deer too. You know, like where we're from, the brush is just matted. I mean,
Yeah.
when you go tracking the deer, you're on your hands and knees
Yeah.
trying to get through it. But they can run
They
across
just
the
go
road
straight
at full
through.
speed and
Are you sure? Yeah.
right through.
Well, I was gonna get up and
they don't break anything. It's
Yeah.
just right through it they go. Pretty impressive.
They know it, they live it every day. We just sort of indulge in it every now and then. We just dabble in what they're doing every day of their life.
Pretty incredible being a hunter.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm just,
I can't believe it took me so long.
yeah. I'm just like, what would I do
What's wrong with
if I didn't get into hunting? Like, what would I do? Like, I'd do something I'm just passionate about.
I
whatever.
don't think
tired
that
of
we
playing
But
golf?
it wouldn't be the same. What's that?
I
Get
don't
tired
think
of
I would
playing
actually
golf?
love him as much as
I would
do.
never play
Do you know
golf.
what I mean?
You would be a
Because
different person.
He would be a different person, and that's why I love him.
Yeah.
So
Maybe I'd be a millionaire.
I don't.
I will
Was
say
it,
that.
was there like a turning
I don't
point,
love
was it a
you for
turning point in
money.
your life for you? So I'm comparing this to give you kind of like a platform. I'm comparing it to Cam's story. You know, like he was in this like really bad place and then he picked up bow hunting and it changed his whole life. Like was it a turning point for you too, or was it just kind
It
of like?
was, yeah. Before I was 14 years old, I witnessed murder, rape, suicide,
Really?
and a heap of domestic violence, all before I was 14 years old. And like I was just in a dark place as a young kid. Like I never had that father figure except for my old pa, who ended up passing away when I was younger anyway. And because my dad was in and out of jail, like real bad drunk. And then we end up moving. We're living in the city, and I'd never experienced that sort of city life before or anything like that. And I just was lost. I just never knew where my life was going to go or what I was going to do or anything like that. And this was
Well, I
after
think
I was.
that you were also influenced by your surroundings. So the people that you were around doing what they were doing, you just thought that was the natural.
It was just a bad
thing to do.
environment, like
Yeah.
drug abuse and alcohol abuse, and then people abuse basically. And I don't even really know how I come back in the bow hunting or just hunting. I think it was just like every now and then we'd go camping on a weekend with a guy that I'd met at school, one of the schools I went to. And then it just fully sparked it again, and I just couldn't get enough of it, and I wanted to be out there constantly. And like the sort of rough it side of things, the rougher it was, the better, and that's even been passed on to how I bow hunt now. Like the rougher the better, the more uncomfortable the better. And once I found bow hunting and got to a later age, like 17 years old, where I could just sort of come and go and do, well then that's it, I just wanted to stay in the bush. And heaps of guys in the industry know it now, because I must have said it on the podcast, there's like 3 or 4 things that I wanted in life, and it was like a wife, like a family, so I could, prove that I knew how to treat people, like my own people, my own family. A 4-wheel drive, because I just love the country. Like that's the simplest things, like a 4-wheel drive. And I don't even remember what the other 2 were. Maybe there was only 2.
Kids or something.
No, it was
Probably a
never a property. That was like a big dream, but
Wife, family, 4-wheel drive, and I think probably a property. I think.
maybe this cabin, I don't know. But
Yeah.
that's all I wanted, just those simple things, and it's probably because I lacked all those things as a kid, like what comes with them, that, and bow hunting was just a big part of it, to do that.
So it saved your life, basically.
It did. I still say that today. Bow hunting saved my life.
Yeah.
I said it to Hoyt. Me and Kim were sitting down with Hoyt, having lunch one time. They were talking about something.
Oh, that was it was hard for me not to cry in front of about 30 people.
Well, I just didn't talk about it or what as well, I just
Yeah.
didn't want that I didn't want the sob story or have to tell it, and for it to bring up those
Feelings.
memories and shit
Yeah.
like that. So I'd hardly ever talk about it, but then Mike's sitting down there and heaps of other people that I respect at Hoyt, and they asked me a question, and the question was like, well, so how'd you even get into bow hunting?
Yeah.
And then I said to Mike, I'm like, you guys, because they all talk me up and stuff like that, I'm like, you guys don't even really know how much bow hunting means to me. And I'm like, it literally saved my life, the shit that I seen as a kid, and how that's not healthy for your mind. Your mind's in such a dark place, then, and it just breeds mental illness when you're in a spot like that. And then they come right out the other side of it, and I even went into details with Mike about because the way my parents were and stuff like that, and I hardly did any schooling, and they weren't really active on
Parenting.
us parenting.
Yeah.
And so I was deaf. I had 100% loss in one ear, so I pretty much had 50% of my hearing all through my younger years in school, and I never heard what the teacher was saying. They just thought I was a naughty kid. That I was just disobedient, and I wasn't listening to the teachers and stuff like that. So, but now, if we find out one of our kids has got a hearing problem, we make sure they sit at the front of the class. We make sure they're at the doctors, and we're doing everything in our power to fix that.
Yeah.
Well, I just never got that as a kid. Well, I eventually did, but it was too late. So I missed all those early years of schooling.
Like when we first met, he could hardly read and write. Like you could read, but you couldn't,
hardly,
spelling and stuff like that.
Very basic.
And you just fought because he wanted to write hunting articles.
Well,
all
not
the
just
time
that.
and
I wanted to
hunting
read the
stories.
hunting articles, and the dream was to write those articles, you know, eventually be able to do something like that.
And so he would be like, how do you spell this? How do you spell that? And he's 20.
And then so I went from that to writing an article for pretty much every issue of 2 Australian hunting magazines that were out at the time, and like awesome articles too, like everyone used to rave about them. But so it's just funny, like hunting actually drove that, you know, like it did. Hunting really drove that. So it's just more than just getting outdoors and enjoying it at the moment. It's everything else that comes with it.
Which
And
is
then-
why I think people connect with you so much, because it is your life and your passion. Like
Yeah,
you're so
definitely, yeah.
passionate about it. And
Well, look where we are now. Bloody got these Texans sitting across the table. No, I just think that's like you wouldn't pick that in a million years. That you know, and like we like just the idea of getting you guys to come out was pretty awesome because you're
this is
very
a
passionate people.
dream trip for sure.
I'm not gonna leave. I'm about to join your sister-in-law in her room. No, I'm just kidding.
The best thing is you guys can come back whenever you like.
I wouldn't say that.
No,
Why?
yeah, we love it.
We'll be looking
Buffalo.
at plane flights here in a little bit.
Yeah.
I do have to say, I don't know if you've told him this. I don't know if he would, but I guess it was last year. He said there's only 2 people that he cares if he ever hunts with, ever. And one of them was Kip Campbell, who came hunting with us this
Awesome.
past season.
Yeah, he came
And you were the
hog
second one.
hunting. Because like I'm an outgoing guy, but when I go in, it's kind of like you. When I go into the woods and I'm hunting, I'm fine by myself. But if I'm gonna be there with somebody, I'm gonna like them because it's for
Oh, for
one,
sure.
it's just you and them
Yeah.
trying to accomplish
Yeah,
something
yeah,
that it's
yeah.
hard to do by yourself. Now you're putting 2 of you, so.
And trust.
Yeah, but I mean, I've met Kip before, and I started following you because Jessica told me to look you up, and just
2
some of
weeks
your
ago.
stories, I was like, if I have to be in the woods and I could hunt with anybody, I would go with Kip Campbell and Out of the Green.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you
And
got
I
both
wasn't
of
even
them.
here, he got both of
I'm
them.
just kidding.
That's cool.
So, and then, in the same year, I've been hunting with both of y'all, and both trips were awesome.
This one's not over yet.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
I
got
got
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
time.
I'm just, I mean, that's what I'm saying, like,
technically,
this is a dream come true.
what's it been, like 3 days?
It's
2
only been
days?
3 days,
3
but
days,
I feel like I don't know. I
You
feel
know,
like
but-
I
I've
have,
had so much
I
fun.
have, it's
When Jessica
at
said,
the top for sure.
asked me if I wanted to go to Australia, and looked at her like, no, I don't want to go. But as from us in the States as a kid, we hear about Australia and we learn about Australia,
Yeah.
and like because y'all have all the wildlife, I watched Discovery and learned about animals all grown up, and it's Australia all the time.
Yeah.
Something in Australia, so you never think I'm gonna go to Australia. For one, it's around the world,
Yeah.
and
But then once you do it, you start realizing how accessible the world is. To
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Seriously, you jump
Exactly.
on a flight, you land here, and you're just here.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I said, probably my best friend can attest to this, I will never go to Australia.
What, you
And
said that.
that?
Because of the snakes.
Oh.
Oh my god,
Why would
it's
we
that.
not?
Now I feel
said
guilty
that.
for saying
Wait a
I
minute.
I
should see one.
said
That's
that.
terrible.
No, I was like,
Has anyone
because
seen a snake yet?
no, I have
Yeah.
seen no snakes.
Exactly.
Well,
I've
and
been
then
looking
so
everywhere.
I said that, and then after going to Africa where there's just as many deadly
Yeah, yeah.
snakes and just being fine, and I saw them and it was fine. Like it was conquering that. So after that, I was like,
Yeah.
oh. But I mean, and 2, I said that before I even hunted. So
Is your best friend Bison the dog?
he's one of my best friends. Actually, yes, he's amazing.
I can't say I didn't think Australia was gonna be this though.
What do you mean?
It's
Just like
exceeded
the
my
mountains.
Do you
expectations.
know how much it changes? Like
Oh,
even where
it's
we
so
drove to
diverse.
today, me
Yeah.
and Kim drove to the other side of the range, and it's just big flat plains.
And it's
like just
barren,
flat ground,
It's
just
so dry.
for
That, I
ages.
imagine
that's
it being
how-
more flat.
And then
Yeah.
then you move, and then if we went a couple
Even if
more
you
hours
went
that way,
like
it would
Western
be
New South
like
Wales,
red
it's
red sand.
soil. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if we just went an hour that way, it'd be absolute forest.
like
massive mountains.
like
Well,
tropical.
Like that's the diverse of Australia. Like it just changes so
And
much.
where did you and Cam go?
Me, Cam, Northern Territory, Arnhem Land.
So
For the
that was
buffalo.
totally different.
Yeah.
And you
Oh,
said
Arnhem
that's
Land's
like
heaps.
10 hours
Yeah.
away from here?
Arnhem,
Oh,
3 days drive.
This
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
the area-
I
Nice
mean,
drive.
oh, okay. Wow,
Yeah.
that's even. Wow.
Yeah.
I would say this terrain, like elevation change wise and everything, reminds me of our elk hunting in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah,
similar.
yeah.
Very, very, very similar
Yeah.
to what we do in New Mexico, which is pretty cool.
I wish we had elk here.
I know.
They would thrive as well. Yeah,
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
yeah, it would be cool.
Even
But
just
it's
to
just
hear
so,
that
you can't just come on one trip to Australia, like it
Yeah.
just changes so much. Like
Yeah.
go samba deer hunting next.
Well, I
go-
guarantee
go
you, with y'all's
buffalo.
invite, I'm not coming to Australia to go to the beach next. So I don't need to see all of Australia. Just
No.
Just the hunting spots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
wherever you take me to go hunting, that's good enough of Australia.
Yeah.
But even like the
yeah.
fishing in WA and stuff like it's just amazing.
Oh, it's just
And the
got
water
and hills and all
yeah.
sorts,
How do I become a resident?
So,
You guys can just adopt me.
We just let any bastard in, you'll be right. If you go to New Zealand first and get your scaffolder's ticket, you can come with
Oh my gosh.
scaffolder.
Yeah, I'd be real good at that probably. Not.
They just seem to let scaffolders in by the busload.
yeah. Totally. But
Oh,
like,
that's funny. So now we are gonna all go tag out tomorrow. I guess not
Hopefully.
tags.
Yeah.
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 We'll be burning the candle at both ends, so we're going to leave here tonight at some ridiculous time.
We're going
stupid
Is it
o'clock I call
Drive
it.
this.
4
Drive.
hours?
Stupid
5
o'clock.
hours?
Yeah, about 5
South.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got to go past Sydney Airport and pick Antonio up.
You guys have been there.
Yeah, you guys have been there.
You know.
I've drove through Sydney.
Yeah.
Shit, which hand? Here.
Killed it in the, yes, good catch. Killed it in the middle of the highway.
Yeah.
Stalled out. in the highway.
no.
That's Antonio's fucking VW or whatever it is.
Hey,
Volkswagen.
honest to God though, today they got in the truck and because yesterday I drove up there by myself, just like a bird flying across, just
Yeah.
today. So
He started talking
I got in the
talking
truck with them.
big.
I was like, hey, just let y'all know I've gotten better at the backwards.
like I got it
driving.
figured out.
Fuck, you hit the gate, just brr.
And then
sound like a
a
kid.
second
Yeah.
time he did it, and
He
we're
did
like,
it again.
yeah, and Jess and I are dying
I
I
laughing.
couldn't breathe. I
We're
was
just
laughing
like,
so hard.
yep, you just keep telling us how good you are.
I hate that truck. Was it hard to drive on the correct side of the road? when
No,
you-
it's only thing that I've noticed is that we drive on the left, so I'm always watching the left side. And,
Yeah.
you know, I don't really pay attention to the middle lane.
Yeah.
But when I'm on the right, I'm still trying to watch the left side. And Jessica's like she does it back in the States, she's backseat driving, so she's getting on to me. You're getting too close over here. So then I got to come back. That's the only thing. But
I'm the same.
and whenever I opened the gate yesterday, I went to the
Wrong
left side
side.
and I opened the door like you son of a bitch.
That's funny.
Anyone looking on is going to be like, what's he doing?
Yeah.
We don't.
I have both times on the way there today and on the way back. I was driving on the right side of the road.
Yeah, he was.
Mhm.
Yeah?
Instead of the
Yeah.
left.
I drive in
Yeah.
the middle. around.
We know.
Yeah. And then I'll just be like, oh, what's that?
A bird!
Yeah. I don't remember. You almost hit some gate or something. Oh.
Just leave that in the past.
While we
She's
were
got
wrapped
good
into
size.
Tupac.
Yeah.
Yes,
All eyes on
exactly.
And Snoop Dogg.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
That's funny. Oh, you Australians, I love ya.
We're a different bunch.
Yeah, we get along alright.
No, I mean Australians.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, mate.
Yeah.
Hey, that's,
Okay.
that
Oh, and
sounds
their
like
words.
that sounds
Like
like the,
all the words you guys have.
Falado.
Hey, that's pretty good.
Now,
That's like a
that
high.
one,
Yeah.
that one today,
That's
there was
a
a
hike.
white doe that they were fighting over, and all the little bucks were pushing her around.
Yeah.
she started doing it
She
after
was
they got.
talking.
But I mean, just as fast as she could breathe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the real frustration one. Like, get off me, get off
Yeah,
me, get off
they
me.
were. Hey, there was like 4 of them, and they were all going in a perfect circle following her. And she was just doing that.
Funny times. What about when we're in Hawaii? Because Chile, that's a real. It's such an annoying noise.
I'm
Their
so
alarm.
frustrated by them. I hate
Their
them.
alarm, the way they did
The
it.
bark.
In the end, we're all just when we're driving from. Yeah, that's pretty much it. When we're driving from spot to spot, all of us are in the car just going. Just to piss each other off, and now the whole crew.
Everyone would do it just sporadically, and
No,
I
you
would
make
just
sure the
like,
car
oh
was
my God.
quiet. Yeah. When
Scare
there
the
was
crap
dead
out of me.
silence in the car, we're just sitting somewhere at the house, and then someone would go.
I saw the stories I was watching everybody in the airport, and then somebody in the parking lot.
Oh, that was
God.
Sam in the airport.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
You've heard them quite a bit too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
Of
what
course.
sometimes
you
I'm
do.
doing.
Crap
Fantastic.
out of you.
Yeah.
And they just stand there, they keep doing it, and it's like,
Oh, that's the
You want me to
that's the saying. Like,
put an arrow
Well, that's
in
the
you, I'll
saying when-
shut you up.
I don't know if y'all have seen it, but Kip, he does that, and it for someone shooting a doe, it was the #1 film this year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
On the Outdoor Channel, and it was a doe kill, and it's the same thing.
It's what everybody
he's sitting
thinks.
there. He's sitting there standing, because it goes through all of our minds when they start blowing. Like, all right, blow again, and I'm like,
Yeah, exactly.
So he's sitting there, and she's locked on him, and she's starting to get hairy, and he's like, "Don't you do it." And she blows, and she starts hopping off, and he just smokes her.
He says something real cheeky, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
What'd
can't
you
remember what
say?
it
Oh,
I
I
have
remember
so many
that.
one-liners.
Where he's just, I
He's-
think he's just like, that's it.
He's very witty.
Whatever. He
Oh yeah, you've done it. No, he said, "I'm here trying to hunt a buck, and you've ruined it for all of us."
What a legend.
That's awesome.
I said to Kim when I was at the ATA show, I'm like, there's like 2 people I want to say hello to at this event that I don't know, and that's one of them, and I chased him down, and I'm just like, hey dude, I just wanted to say hello. He don't fucking know who the fuck Adam
Who are you
Reacher
talking
is.
about?
Kip
Kip
Campbell.
Campbell.
I don't
And
even know who
he's
that
he's very
From
soft-spoken, like
Yeah.
kind of
He
shy
is until
Yeah.
until you get to know him.
Oh,
and
me
then
and him
he's
were
a
like
cut up.
sitting proper. Our first dinner, just talking like
You gotta fill each
kind of
other out.
business, and then it was just like.
Somebody
So,
made the first remark.
Yeah, I don't remember what the first one to get it all started, but just to show you how the week went, he had shot a pig. We were stalking in on some, and he shot one with his bow. Well, a whole heap of them came running out, and they were going over this dry tank dam, and he's just sitting there shooting at them, and I'm watching them in the binoculars, and I'm sitting there like, "You missed again, no shooting, bitch." And the cameraman is sitting back there just laughing.
Oh shit.
But yeah, there's tons of good people.
Yeah. Oh, there definitely is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there definitely is.
And a lot of them are sitting right here.
Oh,
Amen.
sure. Let's say he's got an invite. We can pick him, mate, babe.
Through me, I
Yeah.
was like, I'm talking to these girls.
Yes, girl power.
They're coming out. And you were just like, oh, okay.
It happened so fast. Well, I don't know how long you planned to come, but it was like
It was
February.
around the
It
same
was.
sort of
Oh.
time.
Literally,
Western
because
hunt.
I was,
Oh yeah, Western. And
I
I
was
messaged you around the same time.
yeah, I was talking to you, and I was like, you should come out to Australia. And I was talking to you, you should go out to Australia. And then, I'll let you know when I'm free. I'll let you know when I'm free. And it just happened to line up at
Yeah,
the
you
exact
booked
time. And
first,
I'm like,
and
cool.
I had no idea. And yeah, it was so weird. Meant to be.
yeah.
It wasn't.
It,
It's meant
yeah.
to be.
It felt
Yeah.
like the Western Expo ended and then you guys were here.
Yeah.
It was
There was
so
so much
fast.
happening
Yeah.
in between.
So yeah.
Oh, this year has just been.
The rut takes,
Ridiculous.
the rut here in Australia chews up about a month and a half.
Yeah.
And that month and a half just goes like that.
Yeah.
Because you're in
It
your
went
own rut
super
chasing
quick.
and trying to get one
Yeah.
killed.
Well, you were in New
And you
Zealand
went
for
in
a
Then
week.
New Zealand, then
Yeah.
we went to Lanai, then we literally flew back in from Lanai, drove home,
We're home for like 10 hours.
didn't even
10
unpack.
hours, I think.
Yeah,
And then you
guys.
guys were here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the
We
go
got like-
lifestyle.
Yeah, we got lucky to make it. because the plan was we were riding, y'all were waiting for us, and then Jessica's like, hey, babe,
I didn't tell you it was a standard until last minute.
Oh yeah, she's
Oh,
like,
really?
hey, you're gonna be driving a standard, and I'm like, oh shit, I hope the pedals are right. At least y'all's pedals are the same.
I was
I
worried
would be
about
so
the wrong side of the
backwards.
road and the traffic and.
You know, the traffic really wasn't that bad, but
Well,
one
that's
thing
good.
I've noticed about Australia and the traveling is, like on our GPS, I don't remember how far was it from here when we were talking to y'all's house?
Meters.
126 miles
Or, no,
something.
They do,
Kilometers.
kilometers.
Yeah.
But like in the States, like they've built highways around the towns now, so
Yeah,
we
yeah.
really don't go through. 80 miles an hour, and we're there. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's
I
different.
wish
Yeah.
it was like that. Shit.
No, I like seeing
Oh,
stuff.
I love stopping every
Yeah.
2 minutes at a
No,
stop.
but you know what I mean. It like takes 2 seconds to go through towns. I'm not talking about Sydney.
No,
I'm talking
that's-
about just
Well, they're talking
the
about Sydney.
countryside. Yeah, the
Nothing to put
Sydney
up that
sucks.
shit.
No, fuck that.
I couldn't live there.
You
I
couldn't
just
pay
look
me
at it
to
as a
live
massive
Listen,
waste of life.
we go to some back to. I mean, now we've been living out away from everything, just where there's maybe one stoplight in the towns we're living in. But we go back to where we were raised, and I'm like, there's no way I could do this. I sit there and just bang my head on the glass.
Yeah.
This is driving me crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
it's
people
weird.
literally spend a couple years of their life
I
sitting
know.
in traffic.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Over-
don't
Yeah,
say that.
that's-
That makes
Yeah.
me cringe.
Oh
That's so
shit,
true.
that's exactly what.
But
That's why
you think
people
you
do
think-
that.
you think in
That's
like
their life.
Austin,
I never thought
you
about
think
that.
in Austin it's an hour to work sitting in traffic and an
Oh.
hour home,
Yeah.
and they're only going
Like,
15 miles.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Our friend April Vokey, she's over it, isn't she?
Yeah, Sydney. She lives in
She-
Sydney.
she
But
lives in
Manly
Sydney.
isn't as bad.
No, but still, you're driving in and out of the bitch.
Yeah, I know. Fuck
Can't
that.
do
That
it.
sounds horrible.
No.
I cannot do
And
it.
because
Just
she
even
lives
driving to
in
the
remote
to go
BC
somewhere else, I'm
for
just like,
6
kill
months
me.
of the year.
Well, Adam did
And
make
then
a good
Manly
point.
for the
He's
other
going to
6
give us
months.
an
Oh, it's
address
crazy.
to drive to when we leave here.
You just won't have to go to the airport.
So
I'll just drive into
hopefully
the
we don't
airport.
stall
pick up
out, and
anything.
if we
Oh,
do,
so
it's
what
just
do
a
we
little
do?
country town.
Hey, let's.
you know?
I'll find a place for us to like. Oh no, I'm not even with you. What am I even talking about? I'm like, oh, I'll take you somewhere. Well,
What
you
is
go
y'all's
and
next
pick up
trip for after
Antonio.
this?
No, they gotta go. They'll just drive to a truck stop.
They're coming to the States for 5 months.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
y'all's
and
next big thing, huh? I
Yeah.
guess it's like right around the corner.
Yeah, it's 3
I'm
months
going to
away.
New Zealand again to hunt tar and chamois.
When?
I don't know, somewhere between here
Nope.
and August. Yeah.
No, fuck no. I'm just
And
saying it right now.
Also,
Not happening.
mark my words, people.
No.
Mark my words.
Nope, not happening.
I got a big buffalo hunt, like
Nope.
20 to 30 day buffalo hunt.
Yeah, that's the one that I know about. I don't know about you going back to New Zealand. No,
Yeah,
we
I
don't
think
have
so.
fucking time.
I
No.
think
Who's-
Cole and Cam's doing with me, remember?
When are you guys
Into
doing-
the Northern Territory,
No,
you
both.
said.
But I'll trim the Northern Territory one down
Cole Kramer?
for whatever days I'm going to do in the
Yeah,
in
Cole Kramer.
in
Cole Kramer.
in New Zealand. We can't say Cole's
We can't just say
Kramer's
Cole.
just
We've
first
always-
name.
But I'm like,
We
That's
can't
for
help
Buffalo?
it. We can't help it.
Or New Zealand.
Both.
They're gonna do both.
Yeah, I was going to do both of them.
at the same time.
Yeah.
And so how long is that going to take? Because
No
if it's
more
longer than a
30 days
week,
all up. No, both of them combined won't be
this will
more
be
than 30
interesting.
days.
This is.
It's being brought up now.
Yeah.
What time of year do you
You
guys
can't
do
react
it?
how you wanna react.
No, I'm reacting
She's reacting
exactly how
how she's reacting.
I'll say it. No.
Yeah. What's that, Rihanna? Change the subject?
I said, when are you guys going? What time of the month, of the year?
I don't know. I'll see what the boys are doing. Can't remember.
Where's
I can go hunting in
I
New
just
Zealand
hate
on a day's notice.
things at the last minute. I'm a planner, and I'm just
I'm
very.
not. I'm complete
I need to
opposite.
know.
Yeah.
Is she
He's
such
just
about
like,
communicating?
oh,
I'll text
oh,
like
You know,
I'm going
this is happening
hunting
in
and she
3
doesn't
days.
care,
I'm like,
but she'll
what?
be
No,
Pat,
like,
we're going to Hawaii.
Yeah, I'm like,
Very
no,
spontaneous.
we've
No,
got to
I'm
do
saying,
this and
yeah,
this and
but, like,
this. No, we
communicating.
can't. And then
obviously he knew
and then
about it.
most of the time I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'll manage. Yeah, it's fine. That's
Most of the time, I just
usually
say, no,
what
I
happens.
told you, remember? And then so she doesn't want to feel like an idiot, even though she's not. She'll be like, oh yeah, no, that's fine. And then walk away like, did he?
I know about the Arnhem Land thing. You didn't mention.
I've told you about
No,
New
you said
Zealand.
that wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty no, as in maybe
already
maybe
been
Cam
to
or
New
Cole don't
Zealand?
come. I'm still going.
No, you're
I'll
not.
have that shit solved.
Yeah, I know. I'm really cold. Who's
So
on
you're
fire
getting cold.
duty?
Well, I was like, why am I cold? Well, that
How
fire
come
is
you
in
guys
us.
can't keep a fire lit? Like,
It's because old mate's not used to hardwood. No, it's
he's
true.
used to soft wood.
Yeah. Like pines and shit are soft. They
No,
Is
the
he
wood I got
jealous?
gets pretty hard.
God.
Oh, damn. That's your husband.
I
Anyway, well, we might call this podcast quits because we're going to do another one when the trip ends.
Oh, I forgot it's recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cracking on. So, but thanks for tuning into this one, and you will hear a second podcast with at least the girls, because
Like a wrap up of all the deer that you
Yeah.
guys.
and maybe why Braxton's
And you
still
too.
here, even we can
Yeah.
do it in camp.
Hopefully, yeah. He's
Yeah, that'll be fun around the
Yeah,
in that
sitting
different
around the
setting.
fire and
Yeah.
yeah, that will be really cool.
We'll
so.
have lots of stories to tell you guys.
Oh,
Yeah.
we totally will.
Yay.
Yeah, it should be sick. It should be really good down there. It's just a little bit better game numbers than here, and we've had like
really
Lots
good
of
numbers.
experiences
Yeah.
here. So
so that's
I'm
cool. So.
excited.
Yeah, me too.
Thanks for tuning in, and thanks to Maven Optics for sponsoring this episode. Get online, check them out. I guarantee you that they are a really good bit of glass, and they're a really awesome company. They pretty much just sell all their own gear, so there's no middleman, and that's how they've been able to keep the price down and keep a real quality product on the market. So thanks guys, and thanks for everyone tuning in, and we'll talk to you in the south, which is
Bye.
pretty much anywhere south of you in the world.
True.